You are now listening to the Jca Sports Podcast.
DeMar DeRozan delivers! Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown! Turnover here. Kane's at Kane. 2-on-1. Hustling back his point. Up a shot. Patrick Kane in overtime. Pitch is hit in the air. Deep to right. That ball is gone. White Sox win. The Field of Dreams! This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series! Bryant makes the play! It's over! And the Cubs have finally won it all!
This is the Jca Sports Podcast.
The Jca Sports Podcast. We are here. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Everybody for watching us. My name is Jose Contreras. My brothers Enrique and John will be joining us very, very, very soon. But as you always know, the show must go on, and on it will. On it will go for sure. And we have a great day of sports to talk about, you guys. Predominantly with the NFL. The NFL made headlines back to back days. And let's get to it, man. That's why they're kings, guys. NFL is kings. And speaking of kings, the king of the North remains in the NFC North with Aaron Rodgers and supposedly agreeing to a 4-year deal worth $200 million to remain in Green Bay, making him the highest paid, player in the NFL history. And the only reason why I say supposedly, right, because those were the terms of the contract that were reported by the great Ian Rappaport, but then rebutted by Aaron Rodgers himself. But as we bring in Eric Avila, Eric, I was just saying the NFL is king. And speaking of kings, King of the North remains, and Aaron Rodgers, he stays at the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers on a supposed 4-year deal worth $200 million, making him the highest paid player in the NFL history. Lot to unpack here. First and foremost, how you doing?
Can you hear me? Am I good? I don't
Absolutely, bro. You sound amazing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. Just here. Just another day, another dollar. Just busy here at Illinois Media School. I know, right? I started real bad.
Get it out, folks.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah, Eric's with us. Jonathan will be in the comments, so make sure to talk to John. Argue with him. Give him shit for not being on with us. But we all know the reason why. John, we love you. But we're going back to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Eric, how do you feel about seeing this man a minimum of 8 more games? Yeah, Eric's with us. Jonathan will be on the.
You know what?
8 more games in the NFC North with the Chicago Bears.
First things first, right? First things first.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is a POS, man. I could tell you that much. You know why? Because he picked the day out of all days.
POS? He's a what? Point of sale?
Yeah, we'll go with that one, right? Point of sale. He chose a day where it's all about the women, and him being divorced 20 times, not caring about women, and doing all this, getting paid, get the attention seeker from him, and all this stuff. And I know we're going to talk about what I'm about to go into a little later on. But then he broke the news, and then there was another news about another quarterback, and it's not all about him anymore. And then all of a sudden the contract, blah, 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 this, and that. Like, he just wanted to be all about me. He a whole bitch and a half. and he just wanted just attention seeker. They're talking about how he's a prima donna. You could even tell that he's a prima donna by doing all that. And at the end of the day, he's still gonna own us for the next 4 years. He just looks like he's a POS. That's all I gotta say. He a whole POS, and he don't care about no Women's International Day. He don't care about anything, and yet he's signed for what was it? 4 years, 200 million, supposedly. And then next thing you know, probably there's gonna be another chat tomorrow when there's no news in the NFL and be like, oh, he was off by like 2, 3, 4, 5 million. And that's it. And it's another day of Aaron Rodgers and him and being in the media and stuff like that. Like, come on, man. Like, but then again, he started the downfall. Yeah, and everything that has happened yesterday, it's his fault that the NFL is talking about again. The MLB is no longer around or hasn't been around, and there's news about that too today. And it's just like, this is the only reason why the NFL runs America on Jesus' Day on Sunday for 5-6 months, bro.
Even longer, Eric. Even longer. I mean, let's be honest. The NFL season is it finished almost a month ago. It finished a month ago, and yet here we are, still talking about the NFL with all its majors, with all its major deals that went on these past couple of days. Aaron Rodgers being one of them, and the question was, how do you feel about a minimum of seeing him at least 8 more times against the Chicago Bears? And for me, it sucks. Sure. Because we're talking about, yes, he's a prima donna, yes, he's a diva, but we're still talking about one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time.
Quarterbacks, not greatest quarterbacks of all time. He can't get it done in the playoffs. Don't give me
I get it, but he still has time left, and I'm talking about, I guess, how about this? One of the greatest skilled quarterbacks of all time. The man skillfully is amazing, and you can't say he isn't. The things he just does, he's a magician on that field with the ball in his hands. Time and time again, as Bears fans, we've seen him over and over just destroy our season, and we got to see it for another 4 more years. Hopefully not, but that's what it seems like right now. Unless we get our act together, and Justin Fields can show us that he can defeat an Aaron Rodgers-led team. But Eric, looking at this deal, right? Was this the best move for both Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I honestly believe so. I think what Aaron Rodgers did was that he held the Green Bay Packers by the cojones to get every single last penny that he could get out of them. Honestly, I don't think that the Packers or Aaron Rodgers were going to do anything. I think Aaron was just going to stay there. He was just in the famous words of Roy Kent from Ted Lasso, he's a little bitch prima donna, and that's all he wants, just attention, just seeking attention. Wants to be told that he's loved every day, every week. You know, good morning text, good morning beautiful. He just wanted all that with the money, man, and that's it. I think it's a perfect situation because you look around the NFL, what other perfect situation is out there outside of the Green Bay Packers, with the already made defense, with the offense that he knows pretty much well, with the number 1 wide receiver in Devontae Adams, who's like probably the number 1 or number 2 best wide receiver in the game today. This team is ready to win. You look in the NFL, what other team is ready to win right now that you can say confidently and wholeheartedly that he could go and make that team a Super Bowl contending team or a playoff contending team? And honestly, like outside of the NFC is almost a walk in the park. You can make it technically, right? You could kind of see it in the NFC, like especially in the NFC North. Let me just say that. And the NFC North is basically a walk in the park and making in the playoffs with the teams like the Bears who suck, the Lions who suck, and the Vikings. You just don't know what they're gonna be year in and year out. The NFC North is easily the way to go into the playoffs and have a potential shot in making the NFC Championship game. Honestly, I think it's
Can they though, Eric? Can they really? I mean, you've seen Aaron Rodgers on this team already. Nothing's really going to change for them other than they're just keeping their guys.
Right.
And being with, if this is true with him making all this money, you just franchise tag Devontae Adams, which also gonna a lot. That's $20.5 million coming off your books right there. Right. They're already in salary cap hell. You have all these free agents that you don't know what to do with it. You're gonna have to hope for, if not all of them, or at least Devontae Adams to take a friendly deal to even stay. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But I mean, look, all of them are having Aaron Rodgers is always going to give you one of the best shots to, like you said, make the playoffs, win some games, and potentially go to a championship game. But is this really going to help them move forward when we've seen this how many times already. He's been with Green Bay his entire career, and he only has one championship to show for it.
Right, and I think 2 NFC title trips, and I think he barely has a 500 record in the playoffs. I understand that, right? But the opportunity in the NFL is to be there, to make it there, and then anything can happen, right? And that's where it's just anything can happen. And like you said, the best regular season quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, best skilled quarterback in the NFL up to date. He has the opportunity to possibly be up there. And obviously, like I said, the NFC, outside of the Rams, who else, right? It's just they could easily be the number one, number two. The lowest you'll probably give them is the number 3 seed in the NFC to make the championship game, but that's good enough to at least attempt to make the NFC championship game, and an easier route than the AFC to make the playoffs or make the Super Bowl, should I say?
No way. I was watching AEW Dynamite before. This is for all those who are going to tune into my show with my brother afterwards. We have another surprise. Jeff Hardy's All Elite, baby. The Hardy Boys are back together. But
Nice.
we'll get onto that later. You were calling Aaron Rodgers a prima donna and a diva because he did all this to get more money. But Eric, isn't this what you're supposed to do? You do what you can to get more money. Look, he deserves this contract. You guys can look. I get it. Maybe the way he goes about it is prima donna and it's diva-ish and it's all this and blah blah blah. But he deserves this money. He deserves to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks, if not the highest paid player in the NFL history, because this guy is legit. With Tom Brady gone, he is the best quarterback in the NFL right now, bar none. So it's like, it's who else do you get this kind of contract to? Aaron Rodgers is the man. I 100% agree with you. The Packers right now are the best team in the NFC, a team that I feel can make a championship run confidently, depending on what happens with the Rams and their situation. But the Packers are for sure one of the, if not one of the greatest teams in the NFC, the best in the NFC. So for sure. You were saying, let's move on to Davante Adams, Eric, as I mentioned before, that he already signed, or he didn't sign, but they franchised, the Green Bay Packers franchise tagged it for $20.5 million. Packers are already in salary cap hell. Do you think Davante Adams stays beyond this season, or do you think they could get him on a team-friendly deal, or should the Packers trade him? What goes forward? What happens after this season with Davante Adams? Because obviously, if they're going to sign him to a franchise tag, and with Aaron Rodgers re-signing, he has to at least play this season.
Right.
But beyond this season, what goes forward with Davante Adams?
I mean, look, if you want to keep Aaron Rodgers happy, you got to do the best way you can to keep Davante Adams, right? Apparently, the Packers never give Aaron Rodgers the number 1 wide receiver, or at least in the first round, right, quote unquote, right? But they finally got one in Davante Adams. You just find a way, man. I don't know. From what I've read, I think some part of Aaron Rodgers' contract doesn't hurt the salary cap in a lot, because it's all in signing bonuses. If I'm not mistaken, if I read that correctly. So that's one way. But like you just said, salary cap hell. It's hard to see where they're gonna come from here on out. Understandably so, but that's a problem for them for another day. I don't mind them losing Davante Adams. I think that makes them weaker, right? There's an opportunity for the Bears to have an opportunity to catch him, or any other team. But at the same time, if like you said, if he gets a team friendly deal, anything's possible, bro. Like, anything's possible at this point. And with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, I think you do the best you can to still play with Aaron Rodgers, knowing that you're going to get the targets, the catches, the TDs, the wins, and the possible trip of going to the Super Bowl. So if Davante Adams really cares about winning, he stays. If he cares about the money, Packers have to find a new number 1 receiver next year.
I think he should go. I'm not, as a Bears fan, of course I want to see the Packers only get weaker.
Right, for sure.
But if you're Davante Adams, you've already tried this.
Right.
It doesn't work in Green Bay. Unless you win a championship this year, if they don't do it, leave and get paid. The NFL stands for what, Eric? Not for long. Exactly. And you could take a team-friendly deal, but is that really going to benefit you in the long run if you're not winning championships? And if that doesn't happen within the next 3 or 4 years with Aaron Rodgers, it's not worth it. Go to another team, another contending team that could pay you and get your money. That's me saying it. Not only I'm saying it if I were him, that's what I would do, but also as a Bears fan, that's what I would like to see him do as well.
Yeah, sure.
Eric, do the Packers win another championship before Rodgers' new deal is up?
I want to say no because F the Packers. I want to say no because we've seen time and time again that when it comes down to the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers can't perform or doesn't perform or fails to perform or all the above. Yeah, right. Time and time again, we've seen the Packers as the number 1 seed. Time and time again, we've seen them fail either at the start of the gate or at the end of the gate in the NFC Championship game, and that's it, right? Look, history says no. Do I believe they'll get there again? Probably. Give it a shot. Like, look how wide open the NFC is, really. I mean, what team do you really honestly worry about in the NFC? Just the Rams, and they're about to be depleted a little bit. The Bucks, but they had Tom Brady, so they're not really going to be that great. Seattle just lost their quarterback. The 49ers, you don't know what they're going to do. The Cardinals are up in flames in their current situation with their quarterback. You're in the NFC North. The NFC East, you don't even talk about them because no team is going to come out of the East just like that with either the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, or the Commanders, right? The NFC South is again up for grabs. Dude, it's a strong possibility he could probably be back in the Super Bowl, at least in the Super Bowl before his contract comes out. After winning it, though, we'll see. But history shows that when it comes to the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers is just Mr. Rogers, as in the nice guy in Mr. Neighborhood and not performing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they win one more. Will I like to see it? No, absolutely not.
I don't think so.
But I could see them winning one. It'll have to be this year because again, I really think that Devontae Adams won't go past this season. I hope he takes a big deal and goes to another team. But man, I can see them winning. Aaron Rodgers now has his money, Eric, and hopefully that kind of hopefully this revenge tour or this like this, how do I say it? This FU tour that he's been on since they drafted Jordan Love. Because let's be honest, since they drafted him, he's been a monster, a complete monster. He won season. He won two. Regardless, Eric, he won 2 MVPs. All the games they won, whether it's regular season or not, it's still hard to do in the NFL. They just run through buzzsaws. He just has a bad time against the 49ers and certain teams in the playoffs. But I mean, since drafting Jordan Love, he's been doing his thing, man. So
that's fine. You could do great the first 16, 17 games in the season, but it really counts. The whole objective for them is to win the Super Bowl, and they're bounced out of the first round. What revenge tour is you really talking about? Just because he wins a few MVPs, he's automatically on a revenge tour? Great, that's fine. That's Sandy.
Revenge revenge on his organization trying to draft his replacement, bro.
Revenge on the organization is literally going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, and then leave. That's a revenge.
Not really. So let's say, for example, if you were to try to replace me on this show, and then I go on another show, and that show just becomes wildly popular, because that's a revenge tour. You know what? I dare.
Yes, because you are.
But it's the same thing. He literally went, bro. He had a bad season. They tried to replace him with Jordan Love and drafted him, and then he goes and wins back-to-back MVP seasons. How is that not a revenge tour, bro? But here's a different one. Your girlfriend leaves you. You get in great shape. You're in better shape than you ever were before in your life. That's a revenge body, is it not? That's what Aaron Rodgers did by winning 2 back-to-back MVPs.
That's winning the ultimate prize. What is the ultimate prize? The MVP or the Super Bowl?
I get it. The
ultimate prize. The MVP.
No, think about it. No, this is perfect because again, Aaron Rodgers is trying to prove them that they're doing wrong and trying to replace him. By him winning the championship, everybody wins. Even the organization that tries to replace him. But if he wins an MVP, do they win? No, he does. And now what happens? He ends up becoming the highest paid player in the NFL. He proved to them that he was not replaceable. He proved to them that he was worth all this money. You can call him a diva, prima donna. Yes, that all may be true, but he deserves what he got. And he showed his organization that tried to replace him that there is no replacing him.
Right, and yet you still get the first round. You still get a first round exit and winning the ultimate prize. Aaron Rodgers, what he's doing is that he's dating a 7. He dated a 7 for a long time, and then he left the 7 for an 8. That's basically what he did.
No, it's not.
That's what he did. Because
come on,
the revenge tour for me is telling, all right, guys, I got 2 years left on my contract. If he went back-to-back winning Super Bowl champions and then leaving, that's the best revenge tour in it. But if you're talking about revenge tour and winning 2 MVPs but still getting bounced out the first round of the playoffs, bro, that's like dating a 7 and going to an 8. That's pretty much it, dude. Like, winning an MVP is great, fine and dandy, individual reward and everything like that. But the ultimate prize in the NFL and the team that he has and the player that he's supposed to be and the player that he needs to be winning the Super Bowl or being in the Super Bowl year in, year out, and he doesn't get there and he gets bounced out of the first round after getting the first seed, bro. Nah, don't tell me about revenge tour about that, man, because that's not winning MVPs is cool and cute. But if you win me a Super Bowl, then you have all the reason to talk and getting paid and stuff like that.
Side note. Shout out to the Bulls and Zach LaVine. They did their thing today. They won 114-108. Zach LaVine, 25 points.
Hey, did they beat a 600 team?
No, but John and I are particularly happy because we had a parlay where we needed Zach LaVine to score 25 points and the Bulls to win. So, yes!
You're welcome.
Anyways.
You're welcome. That's what you have to do it.
Going back to the comments, we have plenty of comments. We have Cesar Antonio Garcia in the NFL season's going to be wild. He also said, nope, he's going to be the next Cutler. He said revenge would be shit in the bed. Sadly, that's not Rodgers. Rio in the comments, what's up, Rio? It would have been a revenge tour if he asked to be traded to a rival. Okay.
Yeah, that one was there one too.
No,
and he won the championship.
Right. I just think he's trying to play until they get rid of Love to be. And then they go back. They go back to BJ. Caesar also said, so wouldn't you draft him in fantasy, Eric? Damn right he would. Damn right he would.
I would.
If Aaron Rodgers fell in your lap, Eric, you would be crazy not to draft him. Crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I haven't. Ever since I started doing fantasy football, I have not drafted. Last year was the first year I drafted a Packers player, and that was Devontae Adams. That was the first and only Packer that I have actually drafted in all my fantasy years that I've been doing this. I will never pick up Aaron Rodgers. Don't care how deadly. I could beat him everywhere else on the field minus the quarterback position. I would not draft Aaron Rodgers.
You know what? At the moment, we can't really question Eric's fantasy football because he did win a league this past season. So
you're welcome.
Yeah.
See, right here, champ.
He actually won the JCA league. He beat 39 other people and won it all. So
exactly. I'm still waiting for my trophy, by the way, John. FYI,
little punk. Anyways. Let's move on, Eric. There was speculation that Broncos were also one of the teams that were highly interested in getting the Green Bay quarterback in Aaron Rodgers if he decided to leave. However, since that wasn't the case, they moved on to Plan B. And guys, Plan B wasn't a bad plan at all, as they traded for now a former Seahawks quarterback, Russell Wilson. And in return, they received quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant. We're talking about the Denver Broncos, by the way. Defensive end Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. Damn, talk about a king's ransom. And we were just naming Aaron Rodgers the king of the North earlier. But Russell Wilson's definitely a king at that position as well. So much to unpack here, Eric, but let's start. What was your initial reaction when you seen the trade?
That the Bears got off that trade from the Seattle Seahawks and literally did the best move in drafting Justin Fields, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, because to be honest, look at what they got in return. They got a quarterback, a tight end, a defensive end, 2 first-round draft picks, and 2 second-round draft picks, and an 8th-round draft picks. That's 8 potential players for 2. And I get it. It's Russell Wilson. It's a first-round draft pick. Caesar, who would I go number 1? You know what? That's later on in life. I'll let
neither here or there. Russell Wilson, but I think we could all say Russell Wilson, a future Hall of Fame Russell Wilson.
For sure. Yeah, that's
legit quarterback.
A legit quarterback. But that's like if you are in win mode now, right? That's giving up 8 players for 2 players that you're going to have for 2 years guaranteed, because I think Russell Wilson's contract is guaranteed for another 2 years. I was shocked, honestly, because is it a lot? I'd want to say no, because like you said, it's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Was I surprised? I mean, shocked and surprised are almost the same thing, but I couldn't find the way. I'm like, well, damn, they finally did it. Like they pulled the trigger. Bobby Wagner is gone. I think DK Metcalf is a free
How
agent.
about the Seahawks pull the trigger?
Yeah, right. For trading him, the Seahawks, they're about to lose DK Metcalf next year. Like, they're in legit full rebuild mode, right? No matter what you say, losing Russell Wilson, you having Russell Wilson on your team, you have a shot at the playoffs, knowing that in the NFC West, you have, the San Francisco 49ers, you have the Los Angeles Rams, and you have the Arizona Cardinals, but you still have Russell Wilson, and year in, year out, you still have a possibility of making the playoffs. This past season was the first season that Russell Wilson, missed the playoffs, and B, had a losing record. So, yeah, man, it's surprising. And the Broncos for pulling the trigger for him being still the third best quarterback in that division, because I'll still put, maybe not.
Oh, we're not there yet. Don't move along, man. Keep talking.
I don't know, man. It was surprising. It was surprising. I'll tell you that.
It was surprising. My initial reaction when I saw it was like, wow. way to step on Aaron Rodgers' parade, like, damn. Okay.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Aaron Rodgers, once he saw that Russell Wilson move, the money is not really true. All on Twitter, man, shut up. He was the domino that was supposed to fall. I mean, what do you expect? Like, come on, man.
I was surprised. My initial reaction was was definitely surprised, because I didn't think Seattle was going to move on from Russell Wilson. What's the point? I thought last year was the down year. He played injured. I thought they had enough to make it to the playoffs. I mean, you have wide receivers in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. You have Russell Wilson. You just work on the offense in the draft, a little bit on the defensive end. You still have Bobby Wagner. So the offensive line is a huge issue in Seattle that you need to work on for sure. You have all these damn running backs you don't know what to do with. Right. So, of course, like, I get it, right? But I thought last year was kind of an outlier year. You usually the Seattle Seahawks, when you think about the Seattle Seahawks, you think about a dominant team, playoff team, one of the juggernauts in the NFC. And then they had, back-to-back years where they struggled. Last year was worse than most. So seeing them trading Russell Wilson basically tells me they're here to rebuild. They're starting over. They're hitting the reset button. And what a reset button that is, because you got a lot from the Denver Broncos.
Oh, you really did. You like you said, a king's ransom for that.
Really did, and look, and rightfully so, right? Russell Wilson deserves it. You're getting a great quarterback. So yeah, so if Russell Wilson could be the Russell Wilson we all know for the Denver Broncos, that tends to bode well for you. But I want to ask you, Eric, I want to ask you guys in the comments. We'll put it up. Who wins this trade? Is it the Broncos or is it the Seahawks?
Definitely the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks won the trade. The only reason why is because, like you said, you got a king's ransom from it. You're gonna get a possible 8 players from this draft. Out of those 8 players, I want to say, what if out of the 8 players they're gonna get, you could possibly get, maybe 3-4 good players out of it. So I mean, you win, right? Whether in the NFC, while the Broncos, they're gonna get 2. Where obviously we're going to know that one of them is going to be great because he's a future Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson. Right. But to answer your question, yeah, for sure, I think the Seahawks definitely won this trade.
I don't know. I don't know that to be true, because the only reason why the Seahawks are in the position they're on now is they haven't really been drafting as well as they should have been these past few years. So do you trust? And I don't know much about the Seahawks and the organization, but looking at the past few drafts, do you even trust them to make the right decision with all these damn draft picks? That's a question in itself that we'll find out soon enough. But I think the Broncos won this trade. I honestly do. I think the Broncos win this trade because you get a legit quarterback in Russell Wilson. You didn't have that last season. You were competitive a little bit under Vic Fangio. Your defense was there. You had Teddy Bridgewater. You guys, when you look, I watched quite a few Broncos games. They were in a lot of those games. It's not like they just got, whooped. And they were in a lot of those games. And when you look at your division, look at the quarterbacks in your division, you're like, holy crap, we need a quarterback in order for us to survive here. And they got one in Russell Wilson, because you have Justin Herbert, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Derek Carr. You're looking at this division like, okay, what do we do? How do we fix this? You did it. You fixed it. Now what do you do going forward? What weapons do you surround him with? New head coach. So we'll see exactly what they're able to do. I think the Broncos win. Do you think the Broncos gave away too much? I personally think they did. What do you think?
Well, for sure, the 2 first-round draft picks had to be part of the plan, right? Obviously,
Right.
this year's and not next year's, but the years after. The second-round pick, honestly, I felt like that should have been necessary too. If not, third-round draft picks for sure. As for pick-wise, I think that was fine. As for player-wise, I think that's where you kind of got a little
Right.
bit, right? You kind of got a little bit greedy out of it. I think it was part of I don't know if the Seahawks wanted it or that's what the Broncos offered at that time. But if you're not the Seahawks, why wouldn't you take the trade, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You get a decent tight end. You get a pretty decent defensive end in Harris, and you get a quarterback where you could test out whether if he's good or not in this system, or in this league, right? Plus, you get 2 first-round draft
You get
picks.
a rich quarterback before you find another one, basically.
Exactly, basically. So, like, with time. So, yeah, with the Seahawks, that's why I say, like, they won this trade. Is it too much? I mean, depending who you ask. Because if you're asking the Broncos, if it's too much for a Hall of Fame quarterback, knowing that you have a quarterback competition between Mahomes and Herbert that you face twice, at least you're going to be in every game. You have some decent wide receivers in Judy and I forget Sutton. I think he's still in there. You get a decent wide receiver. You have an okay running game. Your offensive line is better than the Seattle Seahawks. I could tell you that much.
Absolutely.
And so you have a quarterback that could compete with the other two week in and week out, or at least for 4 games, right? Plus you have the Raiders who weren't a sucker team. They were a decent team. They made the playoffs. So that says a lot right there. So, I mean, it just depends how you're looking at it though. I don't think it's too much. I don't feel like it's too much for Russell Wilson.
Okay. Well, fair enough. If you guys feel different, put it in the comments who won the trade.
Yeah, Real on Facebook said this is I think this is a trade where only time will tell. It sounds cliche and like a sucker answered, but they honestly both win. Broncos get better right now, and the Seahawks get to build up over time. And that's true. It really is true. Like it what time will tell, right? You have 2 years with Russell Wilson. You're definitely gonna have to pay if you're really interested in keeping Russell Wilson. You pay Russell Wilson after next year not next year, but the year after when his contract expires, or you talk about a contract extension afterwards, because Wilson got paid. Wilson's the only quarterback or the only NFL player where his contract is fully guaranteed, all $100 and some odd million. So he got paid. Whether if he wants to get paid next time in the next contract that he got, that's just completely up to him. But I mean,
what's a harder scenario? What's a harder path to a title, Eric? Staying in Seattle with all the problems they have there, or going to the Broncos and having to be in a conference where there's a plethora of great young quarterbacks.
The second one by a mile too, by a whole country mile, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have in the NFC. In the NFC, it's wide open. You could still be the 3rd seed in the NFC West and still make the playoffs.
So you're saying staying in Seattle, the easier path.
The easier path to making the playoffs for sure.
But I'm talking about the title. Staying in the NFC.
Right, staying in the NFC. A harder path. I mean, hey, look, you faced Patrick Mahomes twice. You faced Justin Herbert twice, right? You still have the other quarterbacks list and the Josh Allens that are out there, the Joe Burrows that are out there. Who else am I missing? I know I'm missing a few quarterbacks out there. Hey, you might have Jimmy G going.
Lamar Jackson, you have Joe Burrow, you have Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. The AFC stacked with quarterbacks. I might be missing, and I might be missing some too, to be honest.
Hey, man, we might be that right. And he's the older guy. He's the oldest out of all of them. All of them are in their mid-20s. Who's the oldest one? Patrick Mahomes at 27? Or Lamar Jackson?
I don't have that. In front of me, but yeah,
it's like he's the old wily vet. Like you're gonna have 3, 4, maybe 5 years potentially of good years of Russell Wilson, while the other franchises have 7, 8 possible years left in them. You know what I mean? So it's just man, don't even read that last comment. It ain't even worth the conversation. Man, is there a way to delete that comment? I'm gonna find a way to delete that comment. Hide comment. And I'm gonna do that.
Jonathan Palayo in the comments, guys. Make sure to go off on this man, not just because he just said something blasphemous right here in the comments, but also because
stupid.
That's what he's there for. He's there with us in the comments today. with Eric and I. So make sure to go after John. Say Mitch is going to go off next season, and we're actually going to talk about Mitch in a little bit, Eric. Believe it or not. But the next question I have for you. So we were just talking about all these young, great quarterbacks in the AFC. Where does he rank between all them in the AFC?
In the AFC, like the whole entire conference?
Well, no, let's just say like let's put out where do you think he ranks basically
in his conference?
On top of your head, I know we don't have all the quarterbacks like in front of us, right? But let's think about Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Derek Carr. You know what I mean? Him, Russell Wilson himself, Joe Burrow.
At the moment, I want to. I don't know why I want to say 4.
Okay, I was gonna say, does he crack top 5 in the AFC?
He cracks top 5 for sure. He
Who's
definitely
ahead of him?
Ahead of him, definitely Patty Mahomes.
Okay,
definitely Josh Allen.
Okay, you have him at 4, so you need one more person ahead of him.
See, now this is why I struggle, right? Because I don't know. Even though it's 1 year, I might have to put Joe Burrow ahead of him. I that's why I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to put him over Joe Burrow because it's Russell Wilson, right? You've seen what Russell Wilson has done, right? And in 1 year, Joe Burrow in a full healthy year, he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Let's just go by prior. If we go by prior season, I'm gonna put Joe Burrow ahead of Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's 4th.
Jonathan Palau says Russ top 5. Real Perez before he said hard path is going to Denver. There's no guarantee to even win out that division. Let's be real, but if you have a solid squad, you're more likely going to the playoffs, which is very, very true. Look, he just getting out of the division alone is probably one of the toughest divisions in NFL right now. Because again, you have the Chargers, who have an amazing team. You know, they just I feel like they just need to be coached a little bit better and a better defense for sure, because they gave up a lot of points last season. But you have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You know who they are. The Raiders made the playoffs. And now the Broncos having Russell Wilson, and that's pretty scary. But I agree with them. John says Russ is top 5. I agree. I think Russ is definitely top 5. We can't forget what he did in Seattle.
No.
I honestly just think he was hurt last season.
He came back too early.
I agree. I think Russ definitely. He did come back too early for sure.
He
came back too early. So a healthy Russell Wilson, the Russell Wilson we all know and love, definitely caused some problems. Dude, that conference it just got harder, and it was already hard to begin with.
You're right.
NFL's gonna be like it's crazy, man.
That AFC West is gonna. I would not be surprised. Would it be crazy if all the AFC West teams make the playoffs next year?
Is that even possible? Is that possible? I mean,
is it possible?
With I think with the extra playoff team, it might be.
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be crazy?
But how? They're like 3 of them are at least going to have 2 losses, right? Because they all face each other twice.
Exactly.
So it's going to be crazy. Well, maybe we'll see what the Raiders do, right?
Yeah, I think the Raiders are more in flux.
Chargers too, though. Chargers too. They both have potential, high potential, for sure. Another trade was made, Eric. The one that was made today. This time it was a QB from the AFC going into the NFC, which is Carson Wentz getting traded to the Washington Commanders for 2 third-round picks. Not as sexy as Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, but it is news. When you first saw this, what did you think about it?
Well, the fact that the Colts gave up on Carson Wentz just after 1 year, it's kind of like, then what's the whole point of going after him in the first place? You know what I mean? It's just
absolutely.
It's just like I don't know. I don't know if it's that Carson. Like a lot of people tend to forget that before Carson Wentz blew out his knee, he was going to be the MVP of the year, and possibly even winning the Super Bowl. A lot of people say if Carson Wentz was in that playoff, they don't win this Super Bowl. Maybe not. You're probably right on that aspect, but I think that's the downfall of Carson Wentz's career, right? The downfall of Carson Wentz was the fact that the Eagles won the Super Bowl without him, and when he came back, they couldn't find a way to be back there. And he was still a backup to Nick Foles the year after that, trying to recover. And then it's just been a roller coaster ride. Like, we get it. Sometimes he throws an interception here and there. He has that gunslinger mentality at the end of the day. But it's just like the kid hasn't really have a chance to flourish in a system till after his injury. And it's just like the kid gets the short end of the stick. surprising that they trade him back to the NFC East, but with the Commanders. And Ron Rivera finally has a quarterback, man. I mean, I honestly feel
does he really?
Look, Carson Wentz could be decent. Like, he could win you some games. He can give you a good game managing performance and probably get you the W2 as well. I mean, look, it's better than Heineke. It's better than any other quarterback that he has on his roster right now at the moment than Ryan Anderson or whatever quarterback that he brought from Carolina to Washington. It's a better quarterback option than what he has right now. And honestly, him going back to the NFC East kind of makes him the best quarterback in the NFC East over Dak Prescott. Don't get me wrong. I honestly do believe.
Bro, come on.
He does
There ain't no way.
Quarterback in the NFC East.
No way. Come on, Eric. You did not just say that, buddy.
Yeah, man, because what has Dak Prescott other than just come back after breaking his leg and then nothing but pure disappointment? An underachieving Cowboys team, bro. A team that has all these weapons and they still don't find a way to win games.
That doesn't make him better than Dak Prescott. There's no way in hell he's better than Dak Prescott. This is just as bad as your Jimmy Garoppolo thing. If you had to choose, if you have a franchise and you have to choose Dak Prescott or Carson Wentz to lead your team, those are the only two options. You're telling me you're going to take Carson Wentz.
I'll take Carson.
There's no way. There's no way. Put it in the commentary.
Carson, bro.
Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott? Which one? Oh my God!
I really do believe that Carson Wentz can actually take you a team to the playoffs and actually perform better than Dak Prescott has performed. I honestly do believe that. Like, with the team that Dak Prescott has, you have no opportunity to fail, and they fail year in and year out, time and time again. Like,
I put straight cap. There's no way in hell you put Carson Wentz over Dak Prescott.
Yeah, man.
There's no way.
Dak Prescott even when healthy, hasn't even shown or hasn't even taken that team to the next level. It's always been first round exit or nothing. Like, that's
what has Carson Wentz done? What has he done? What has he done since coming back from his injury? Not a damn thing. Before that, almost won an MVP, but didn't do it.
He hasn't really been given a chance. He really hasn't,
bro.
And the one year that he actually had his chance to prove with the Indianapolis Colts, stuff happens along the way. Now he's getting traded to somebody else. Like, he hasn't really had a chance to stay consistent and in one team. Dak Prescott has been for the team for how long? And it's the same story year in and year out. We make fun of the Cowboys, or at least John makes fun of the Cowboys for failing, for passing the playoffs, or even win, or whatever it is, and not making it far. Dude, when you have Ezekiel Elliott, a top 5 running back, a Amari Cooper, who could probably argue top 10, top 15, a young person in CeeDee Lamb, and a great offensive line, you're telling me, and a quarterback that's supposedly a top 10 quarterback with that caliber type of offense can't get you out of the first round? And you telling me that
you're telling me that he's better than Dak Prescott? You're telling me that you would take Carson Wentz over Dak Prescott?
If you give those to Carson Wentz, I honestly believe that the Cowboys would take the next step.
There's no way. Yeah. No way. Then why did the Cowboys trade for them, Eric? Why did they trade for him then? I guarantee you the Colts would have took that. The Colts would have took that 100%. The Colts would have, you know what? You want Carson Wentz? We'll give you Carson Wentz. We'll give you 2 first-round draft picks just for you, because we know you're going to need it right after this season, and we'll take Dak Prescott off your hands. Without a doubt. There's no way in hell that anybody in their right mind will take Carson Wentz over Dak Prescott.
John says Dak is a top 10 quarterback. I honestly don't think he cracks top 10. I think him and Carson Wentz are like right there, literally hand in hand. What's the one thing that Dak Prescott can do better than Carson Wentz? Tell me.
Everything.
What's everything?
Hey, one, he's hell of a more mobile, especially now.
Okay, mobile. That's one.
They both had serious injuries, and Dak Prescott is still more mobile than Carson Wentz. He's a better passer, bro. Yep. Absolutely, he's a better passer. Better overall quarterback. No hands down. No cap. There's no way in hell that you're saying Carson Wentz. And you're going to go look up stats, but what's the one thing you always say? Stats says one thing, Jose, and the game tells you another.
Literally do see a supposedly top 10 quarterback with literally like
what happened to the Indianapolis Colts this season?
They can't perform. They can't.
What happened to the Indianapolis Colts? The Colts overall as a team are not.
You telling me that this guy could take you over to the next step when you can't get out of the first round and struggle in the playoffs?
The Colts couldn't even make the playoffs, and they have a great team. They had a great running back and Jonathan Taylor, a great defense, but they couldn't even make it to the playoffs with that sorry ass quarterback in Carson Wentz. You can't tell me that. Come on, man.
You could ask for whatever all you want. Granted, it's the first year together. Dak Prescott has been with the Cowboys for years.
That's what happened last year. Last year was the first year together with who? With a better quarterback. You remember who the quarterback was last year? The Colts, Phillip Rivers, and that was their only year together. First year, they still made the playoffs. Don't give me that BS. It doesn't matter. Come on, man.
Nah, man. Even then, I still believe that Dak Prescott is not better than Carson Wentz, and I think Carson Wentz, given time, would be better than Dak Prescott.
He's no way in hell going to be better than Dak Prescott.
Phillip Rivers is going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you telling me Phillip Rivers is going to be a Hall of Famer, bro? That's a Hall of Famer that you're comparing it to.
You just said first year in the playoffs, okay? But they had the first year in the playoffs. First year. Phillip Rivers.
Is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, of course he's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, and Carson Wentz right now isn't. He's still a young quarterback. So you're comparing Carson Wentz to a Hall of Famer, bro?
All I'm saying, I'm just disputing what you're saying. First year together, they still made the playoffs. You take Phillip Rivers on, you put Carson Wentz. Same exact team from the year before. The only difference is you have an MVP-like performance from the running back and Jonathan Taylor, and you can't make the playoffs because you have no quarterback under center who are able to help you in any type of way. Carson Wentz wasn't able to do anything. A, he was injured for most of the season, and B, he was more interceptions and touchdowns. I don't want to hear that, man. Oh, man.
Nah, man. But even given that though, like the Cowboys were the Colts were still there in here and out trying to make the playoffs and stuff like that.
And they didn't make it.
Carson Wentz.
Cowboys did. Cowboys lost. They lost in the first round. They still made the playoffs. Prescott's way better than Carson Wentz. Can't tell me otherwise.
Nah, man. Nah, I honestly the move to the NFC East I think makes Carson Wentz the best quarterback in that conference.
My microphone's static. Hold on.
Come on, man.
I think I know what it is. Okay. For those who just joined us, first and foremost, you listen to the Jca Sports Podcast, brought to you by Anchor on Spotify. We're broadcasting on Facebook Live, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. My good friend Eric Ayuda here literally just said Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott. He'd rather have Carson Wentz over Dak Prescott any day. He started off saying that he's the best quarterback in that division. I guess that's only unless the New York Giants doesn't grab Mitchell Trubisky. But I guess that's what you want to feel like. Speaking of Mitchell Trubisky, Eric, he's a free agent. Free agency period starts Monday. Mitchell Trubisky right now is one of the hot names out there in the quarterback ranks. New York Giants have interest. The Indianapolis Colts now may have interest. They said they traded away a supposed great quarterback in Carson Wentz for 2 third-round picks. So I guess they don't feel the same way you feel about him. But, here we are. Can you see the Indianapolis Colts maybe signing somebody like Mitchell Trubisky, or maybe going and trading for someone like Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, definitely. Jimmy G fits. Jimmy G fits. I honestly do feel like Jimmy Garoppolo fits better than Mitchell Trubisky, and then I'll put any other quarterback fits better than Mitchell Trubisky. To be honest with you, we've seen what Mitchell Trubisky really is in the NFL. He's just a great athlete. That's it. Jimmy G will actually. Well, I mean, he'll do better in Indianapolis than Mitchell Trubisky ever will. I think the comparison of him having a QB battle with Daniel Jones will prove to you that if Mitchell Trubisky cannot beat Daniel Jones for a starting quarterback job in New York, if he does go to New York because of Brian Dable, then, I mean, it's no surprise to me. It really isn't a surprise. Mitchell Trubisky is what he is, and that's just a great athlete.
So, as you see on the screen here, my colleague Eric wants to ask a question, and yes, this is a legit question, not my question, but his question.
Yeah.
Who is a better quarterback in the NFC East, Prescott or Wentz? I undoubtedly say it's Prescott. He begs the difference. Says it's Wentz. He's entitled to his opinion. So if you guys have any say so, who do you think is better between the two? Please put it in the comments. We would love to. We would love to. We would love to. I guess
join us on the stream.
Yeah,
we also have the stream, the link on the stream too as well.
Links on the stream. You could always join us.
The link is on the comment section.
The link is, whatever he says.
You know what I mean.
I'm sorry, but the blasphemy here. Speaking of, where's Johnny Blasphemy? Where's he at in the comments? John, get your boy.
He basically agreed. I'm telling you, man. All he said was Dak is top 10, Wentz is 15-20.
If John was here, he would basically say Mitch Trubisky took his team to the playoffs multiple times. Wentz couldn't do it once.
In between that time, he was hurt. Matter of fact, didn't he go to the playoffs with the Eagles? Wasn't he in the playoffs with the
hurt, Eagles? Man. He didn't play.
I mean, you can't give me that.
BDN did that.
Mitch rode on the back of a great defense, and then that was pretty much it. And then he beat the teams that he could normally beat, and that's the worst teams in the NFL to make it to the playoffs. And then that was pretty much it. Again, don't the Mitch conversation is nothing to me, man. Like I already know where I stand with this guy. This guy is just a great athlete, and that's it, man. A backup quarterback, he could just get his paycheck. He could be the next Chase Daniels, collecting money, doing all that, saying he was a quarterback in the NFL as a backup. And maybe later on in the future, the one thing I'll probably give Mitchell Trubisky a chance in is being a good offensive coordinator or something, because I think he could probably be good at that, because the best coaches or the best offensive coordinators are the backup quarterbacks, because they see everything, they read everything, they understand everything, but they just can't play. And I think that's the next future for Mitch Trubisky.
I read a report, Eric, and I want to get your reaction, right?
Right.
Because my reaction after reading this was like, oh my God, there's no way. So Wentz was drafted in 2016, right? 2016, 2017?
Yes.
2016. Pace first came onto the scene, I think that same year, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to draft Carson Wentz. That was like, going for. He was like, that's the quarterback I wanted, but he didn't have the conviction to trade up, move forward to get Carson Wentz.
Yeah, instead he got Kevin White.
Right. Then he went on and tried to get Marcus Mariota the year after. Same thing. Didn't work out for him. That was his conviction. He wanted him, so he made sure when it was his time to draft a quarterback, he followed through his conviction and got the quarterback we all know as Mitchell Trubisky. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens after that? What happens that same year? He brings in a quarterback in Mike Glennon. What happens later on? Brings in Nick Foles. What happens after that? Brings in Andy Dalton. Reading this, right, just made me even more frustrated. You wanted Carson Wentz, who panned out to be not a damn thing. You wanted Marcus Mariota. Where is he at right now? Turned out to be not a damn thing.
Oh, well,
no, hold on. Come on. You can't say Carson Wentz and Marcus Mariota are the upper echelon NFL quarterbacks. If they were on the Bears, we will be in the exact same boat we're in now. Then you bring in Mike Glennon, who was not a damn thing. Then you bring in you have Mitch Trubisky, who was nothing. Then you bring in Andy Dalton, who is nothing. No, don't give me that. Come on. When you draft a quarterback, or if you bring in a quarterback, what is your sole propriety or your sole reason for bringing in that quarterback, Eric? It's to get you to a championship. You're the big goal. Everybody wants a NFL championship, or be relevant. You couldn't do neither with any of those quarterbacks that I just mentioned. Not one. The fact that we had Ryan Pace as a general manager, as soon as he brought in Mitchell Trubisky, that was it. Once we figured out he wasn't it, he should have been fired a long time ago. So reading this article, reading this, where I was like, there's no way in hell this guy literally ran our organization for X amount of years. It's a joke. He's gone now, but he did do one more thing before he left. And what was that? Draft yet again, bring in another quarterback in Justin Fields. So before we go, I want to ask you and everybody at home, are you worried that Justin Fields may not be the quarterback that we all want him to be because of who drafted him and the track record that comes with the guy who drafted him?
Well, he wanted Carson Wentz, and before Carson Wentz blew up his knee, he performed at an MVP level. Marcus Mariota took the Titans to 2 playoff appearances. I'm not sure if they won one though, but he was pretty solid in there. So
did Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears. But where's Mariota now? Where's Trubisky now? Both in the same spot, buddy. Back up. They can't be full.
But Marcus Mariota had a little bit more than Mitchell Trubisky.
Don't give me that, Eric.
So at least those two quarterbacks are okay. I'll give you that. Okay, given where they're at right now in today's NFL, whatever. But give me past history at that time. I see 2 playoff appearances from Marcus Mariota with the Titans. I see an MVP who was halted by injury, and then I see bums after that. Andy Dalton, give me Andy Dalton a year sooner, maybe would have been a little bit better than getting Nick Foles, and you would have gotten Andy Dalton for the cheap instead of paying and draft or giving away capital for Nick Foles. And he said he wanted his quarterback, and he had 2 other opportunities because we forget to mention that was also the same draft where Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson both came out the same draft as Mitchell Trubisky. So he literally had
not even just them 2. I mean, you could look at the draft alone. That draft was crazy.
True. But the main 2 that always stick out is Deshaun Watson, who took the Titans to 4 playoff appearances, 3-4 playoff appearances,
who's available now,
and Patrick Mahomes, who won an MVP and won a Super Bowl, and Mitchell Trubisky is now the backup or a free agent in the NFL now. It just shows to you that if he really had the cojones to do whatever he needed to do, he should have done it instead of doing it for Mitchell Trubisky. And honestly, I think he just did that just to do it, just because he didn't have the other 2 opportunities, and he still ended up getting it wrong.
So do you think had he got Marcus Mariota, this organization would be different? Would we have won a championship? Yes or no?
Oh, championship?
Or better, here's a better question: if the Bears had drafted Marcus Mariota, where would Marcus Mariota be today? Will he still be the quarterback, the franchise quarterback of the Bears, or will he be a backup like he is right now?
See, now that's just a hypothetical question.
But it goes what we're saying, right? Because my whole point of bringing this up was if he would have traded and got Carson Wentz, we will still be in a position we were today, probably with Justin Fields, because Carson Wentz wouldn't have been irrelevant for us. Say for Marcus Mariota, you draft someone like him, what happens? He would be a backup somewhere right now. Then you draft Trubisky, same thing, backup somewhere. Mike Lennon, the worst signing ever in Bears history. I don't want there's no debate to that, right? Andy Dalton did his thing, but ultimately did nothing for us. So it's like, you know what I mean? Regardless of the fact you had all these chances, you had all these quarterbacks that you want, you didn't get it. Now you finally have a quarterback here in Justin Fields. I'm worried.
I honestly believe, right? And this is just me personal, right? Because what was that one? John Fox, he said he wanted Deshaun Watson, or he wanted something like that.
Yeah.
If you would have gave me Carson Wentz with John Fox, I think John Fox would probably still be a coach. No, you know what? No. But I think they would have performed better with John Fox than they did if they would have drafted either Carson Wentz or Marcus Mariota. And I know hell for sure that they would have done way more better with Deshaun Watson with John Fox under it. I still think that they probably would have still fired John Fox after the first year of Deshaun Watson. Because remember, if we go based off that, Deshaun Watson did tore his ACL his rookie year, and then the year after that it was just whatever. So like if I'm just thinking about going back into the Bears future or Bears past and seeing how everything went, I think if you gave John Fox a decent quarterback, he would have probably had a better record than he had today. So yeah,
but what you just said had nothing to do with my question.
It has everything to do with your question.
The main question I had was, are you worried about Justin Fields? Because Ryan Pace drafted this man after wanting to draft the likes of Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota. He drafted Mitchell Trubisky. He brought in Mike Lennon, brought in Andy Dalton, brought in Nick Foles, all irrelevant ass quarterbacks. He cannot scout.
Well, not irrelevant. You can't say irrelevant.
He couldn't scout quarterbacks to save his life, and yet here he did. Here he brought in our quarterback for the next foreseeable future in Justin Fields. Are you worried that Justin Fields doesn't pan out the way we want him to?
Again, given the past, I think they would have been in good hands with Carson Wentz, and they would have been in okay hands with Marcus Mariota. The difference now with Justin Fields than it was back then. The difference now is the fact that Justin Fields is probably in a better hands with a better coaching staff than Mitch ever was, to be honest with you. I think
that has yet to be proven, but we'll
even then, so I still feel like these guys know what they're doing. I just honestly feel like these guys know what they're doing.
You felt the same way about Ryan Pace, and you felt the same way about Matt Nagy after coming from the Chiefs. We've all said it. We've all been down this road before. Let's not forget who hired these guys. Let's not forget that we still have the same owners and the same people running the organization that's been running
about that part.
X amount of years, who's been showing us they can't do their jobs to save their lives.
But at least their backgrounds are better than before.
So was Matt Nagy. So was Matt Nagy came from a winning organization in the Kansas City Chiefs. Ryan Pace came from a winning organization with the New Orleans Saints. You know what I mean? Like obviously they're but they're gonna come with great backgrounds. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the positions that they had.
I think, but the other two had tunnel vision. I don't think these two guys have tunnel vision.
You don't know that yet. How can you sit here confidently and say that they do when you don't? They have done nothing yet. They have to prove to us.
Their press conference for the NFL Combine, kind of like, okay, I'm just going by the way that they sound, right? That's all I know based off of what I know by the way they sound.
Mark Trestman sound like a damn lawyer, professional. He was like a doctor. He was the smartest man in the room. He was an idiot.
I mean, at the end of the day, but from what I can tell from these two guys, better than the other, like I feel these guys are a little bit more direct and know what they want to do, and they're actually more like in sync because like I hope so. Because the other two was just like I don't know. Just me personally, like I said, Ryan Pace's downfall was not getting Watson or Mahomes. You know what? I'm not even saying Mahomes because Mahomes was just a wild card. Just Deshaun Watson itself. Granted, whatever happened with Deshaun Watson afterwards is a whole different story. But for sure, that's what's basically hindering him because now he didn't give Mitchell his 5th-year contract, and now he's a backup somewhere along with everybody else that you just said. But I think they would have been better off with Wentz or with Mariota as their quarterback. They will probably have better records than what they do now, but we may or may not have been in the same boat. Who knows?
Yeah, no, you're right, man. We'll see. Time will tell what happens with Mitch Trubisky, where he lands. What happens with the
he's going to go to New York. He's going to New York, bro. That's like no question.
Well, we'll see, right? We'll see. I mean, if he does, then that's another topic, another segment a day of sports of us just championing Mitch Trubisky in itself. One more question before we go, Eric. Who won the week? The Green Bay Packers, or the Denver Broncos, or the Washington Commanders?
The Seattle Seahawks, because they got a lot more in return than both of them. That's for sure. I mean, the Packers still got a bitch prima donna. Although
he's a good quarterback though.
And he still owns us, right? And the Broncos did get a future Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson, but the Seattle Seahawks are going unnoticed because they had a whole king's ransom. They're on a rebuild, and they got a lot more than what they bargained for.
Yeah, they got to do something with that though.
They got to do something with it. But as of right now, throughout the winter so far of the first wave of free agency / trading / whatever you want to call this in the NFL, the Seahawks so far are the winners in my books and in this year so far.
NFL is king, man. Next week
can you believe it? Instead of talking about baseball, we're talking about football.
Bro, for real. Next week we're talking free agency.
Right. And we're gonna talk about how baseball's still canceled for another week. That's just ridiculous.
My god. Yeah, we didn't even got there yet, but we'll get there Monday for sure. And then not to mention this Friday, Deshaun Watson, and there's gonna be a lot going on about his future because I guess there's a lot of the court cases and everything.
Oh yeah, so for sure. Yeah,
we'll get a whole bunch of news for Deshaun Watson. So yeah, lots to unpack. Monday, guys, make sure to join us in the Jca Sports podcast. We'll be live as we were today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Thank you all for watching. Stick around because Sports Drip Live is coming up next. My brother and I, we're going to talk about UFC 272, AEW Revolution. Jeff Hardy is all elite. Just showed up on Dynamite tonight. We'll talk Stone Cold Steve Austin, the purchase of Ring of Honor.
I'm going to talk about that. You'll see me on there. I'll be on later on for you guys to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please jump on with us. Yeah, everybody, please jump on. We'll put the link on there. Well, we'll be on in about 10 minutes. So we'll see you then. As for Eric, as for John, who disappeared, probably sleeping with his new girl. Thank you all for watching. We love y'all. Goodbye, Eric.